feel like, you know, as of course you guys know all the things that I have been going through, and a lot of the sisters that I know who's been going through, and I'm not talking about Black females, but however, I'm talking about Black women, you know. So of course, you know, we want to buy into this whole thing where we feel as though um, because a male is a male, that he deserves to be respected, that he deserves to be treated a certain type of way just because of that point alone, because of the color of his skin. And a lot of Black women have been raised this way. We have been raised that, you know, to look up to the Black male as him being like, you know, God or king or whatever. But a lot of these dudes, I'm gonna say the N word. You know, we not that far into the video where I can really talk because of the YouTube algorithms. But I'm gonna say because a lot of these ends, they don't even move like a god. They don't move like a king. You get what I mean? So it's kind of hard when we have been taught basically to worship pretty much a particular male because of the color of his skin, right? And so then when women begin to rebel against that and they start to actually speak their truth and be honest about it, then said women get attacked, get told that they're lying, get treated like, you know, just any kind of scum off of the street because, you know, they're speaking their truth and nobody can uphold truth compared to the so-called Black male. You get what I'm saying? So for me, I've seen this happen a lot. And then we have the Black male worshipers who, because they have been taught with this mindset and this mind frame, you know what I mean? They then start to jump on the bandwagon and start to protect said Black male because this Black male's been sucking on his mama's boobie all his life. She's coddled him. Nobody has taught him how to be a man, you know, or taught him how to move. So nowadays we see a lot of Black males, you know, perpetuating female traits like gossiping. You get what I mean? Like going against women, right? Um, just abusing women. The one thing that we see now, especially in the melanated community, is we see a lot of Black men who, well, sorry, in your terminology, Black males who are beating women, abusing women, womanizing women, laying up on women, being bums, allowing women to take care of them, all kind of things like that. We see this every single day, right? And because of that, if we go and we start to look at the numbers and we start to look at the statistics, right, then we'll see that most of the crime that happens to Black women are done by Black males.
Okay, absolutely. And I agree to a certain extent. Well, you use the correct terminology. Uh, I'll say this: I will never deny the pathology and the actions that come from the pathology of Black males. What I would say is this: I will say, in my humble opinion, that a Black woman will not deal with a Black male. A Black female will, but a Black woman wouldn't. Now, here's what's interesting. Here's what I'm saying that's very, very interesting. Can you guys hear me clear?
Here's what I don't agree with you on, though.
Okay.
When you say that, right?
Okay.
Because we have a lot of Black males who walk around here and they perpetuate and they pretend like they are Black men. So that's where I disagree with you at. I mean, it's not, you can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna look at him and be like, this is the type of person he is. Now, maybe per se you can. You know why you can? Because you're a man.
No doubt.
Right? So this is where it gets tricky for women.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because whereas we may not recognize certain things that you as a black man would recognize.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because I was gonna, that's why I was going to say, this is what I've been seeing, and this is where it gets interesting. What I have been seeing lately is black men morphing back and forth through the behavior, morphing back and forth in their behavior, or cloaking themselves. You understand? And I've seen black women do the same thing. And that to me is a product of not being steadfast in your discipline. You see what I'm saying?
I've done that. I've done that too.
Absolutely.
So I definitely agree with you. I've been there. It's like you want to, you know what's right. You know that you got to live this righteous life. But the easy path for anybody is to go back to what you know.
Right.
That's easy.
Correct.
The hard path is trying to move past that, and trying to, like you said, be steadfast and stay. It's easier to go back to being unrighteous.
Correct.
It's easier to go back down that road. So I agree.
Absolutely. And I've been seeing this. I've seen it. I've been seeing it online, and I've been seeing it in society in real life for a couple of years now. And that's created this confusion, because if you are a black man and you're trying to stay disciplined in your righteousness, and you want a black woman, then maybe the initial interaction between you guys is that of a black man and a black woman, and there's a spark. But then we're still in an environment, a white supremacist environment, that is 100% poisonous on every level. So if you're not disciplined, if you don't steadfast in your discipline as a black man, you may seek, like you said, into the easier path of maybe acting like a black male based on whatever, based on maybe the music you listen to, the frequency, your diet. We know how it goes. You know what I'm saying? We know how it goes. We got these people numbered who are our enemy. But that's what I'm saying. And but what I want to make clear is that a black man is going to gauge his behavior on results. Okay. So if the results of his behavior in his mind is not constructive, he's not going to like really entertain it full force. You see what I'm saying? Like, I mean, if it's, I'll give you an example. If I'm in a social environment and I want to indulge in maybe alcohol or whatever, I know that that's not necessarily the best thing I should be doing, but I want to quote unquote have fun or entertain myself. But it is a limit. There's a limit, and I'm not gonna get so drunk that I can't walk, and I'm gonna try to holler at every black woman that I think I can get, and maybe I could, and then engage in frivolous sex. Because at the end of the day, I'm a black man. I'm thinking about the result of that. I'm thinking about the result. The black male, the last thing he's thinking about is the result. A black male is only living in the moment. This is why black males can't even identify their pathology, because they're living in the moment. It's day to day with a black male. You know what I'm saying? If you listen to them talk, their language is telling you. They use a lot of mundane. They use mundane words. Even though we're speaking in the English language, you still should be operating in this language a little better than using everybody's an N word, everybody's a B word. I cringe when I hear that. You know what I'm saying? And I can apply this to individuals that I know and love. You know what I'm saying? So we have to keep it in the context. And then our black women have to practice the same discipline. Yes, it's very easy to slip into the path of the black female, because the black female, when she's attractive, she gets tons of attention, which is a drug. Let's be clear about that. That's a drug. serotonin and dopamine is
Yeah,
released.
it does release serotonin, dopamine, and things like that. Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely. So that's a drug, so it can get addictive. So our black women have to not stay disciplined and not slip into that. You know what I mean? Just because they're very attractive and just because they get a lot of attention. Because when you do that, now you don't compromise yourself and you're open to being preyed on by a black male, cloaking himself, or even, you know what I'm saying, cloaking himself as a black man. Now, I would say this.
And then, too, you have to think about this as well. I don't mean to cut you off, but you have to think about this as well, too. And this is just from the woman's perspective. Because the fact that the real black man is few and far in between, right?
No doubt, no doubt.
It's kind of hard, you know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm still here. I apologize. I'm still here.
Oh, okay. It's kind of hard for as a black woman, you sit at home. Maybe I know me, for at one point in time, I didn't date for like 2 or 3 years, and you get that thing where you go out and you're like, damn, I'm tired. Like, I'm tired of not meeting, you know, real quality men. So you find yourself entertaining people that you normally wouldn't entertain.
Correct.
You find yourself compromising, you know, a lot of your standards that you normally would have just for the sake of, you know, oh shit, I'm lonely. There's a lot of women who do that.
I've done it.
Right.
Oh, okay. So to speak to that, we should refrain from passing judgment on our sisters who do that. But this is what I would say, Cadillac. Can you hear me?
I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just stating facts that what really happens.
I know wholeheartedly. I got 2 sisters, 6 aunts, probably 12 black female cousins. So I know. What I want to say is, although we shouldn't pass judgment, if we can communicate, if you're a black woman, you can communicate with other black women regarding that. Try to get them to understand that the results of their actions, the results of said black males that they may be dealing with, that's what matters. So always keep that in the back of your mind. I would tell all my sisters, I would tell all our sisters that. Always keep that in the back of your mind.
You know what, Sharon? I agree with you. Sharon, I agree with you on this one.
I agree with Sharon. I'm reading her comment. I can kind of agree. I'll say this. The black women that I know who are steadfast and disciplined in their black womanhood, they have black men. They don't even like these type of discourse or these type of negative interactions. They don't have, and if they do have them, it's not public because they're building with their king.
Right, and you know what? Now I realize, you know, like after all these things that I have been through, like as of late, I want to say even the things I went through with my brother, things I've been through with my father, my other brothers, people who I thought as far as black males go, people who I thought, you know, were friends and things like that. This whole thing has taught me a very, very valuable lesson. You know, I can definitely say that it was definitely a blessing, even though this has been very hard and, you know, dealing with a lot of trolls and a lot of things like that. I give reference to my ancestors for this because of if I didn't go through this, then I wouldn't realize. Number one, I've been watching Cynthia G. Shout out to her. I love Cynthia G. A lot of people might not like her.
Now you just, I'm about to end the stream, y'all.
I know you might not like her.
I know Cynthia G. Cynthia G. knows me, okay? And if Cynthia G. knows me, okay? Cynthia G. I ain't gonna say too much, but Cynthia G. used to date my blood cousin. I know Cynthia G. and she knows me by name. And Cynthia G. has met some of my family members here in DC, in Maryland, actually. So I'm not gonna, you know,
Okay,
no
what I was gonna
shade.
say about her is a lot of things I agree with and some things I don't. But I will say, while you said you don't agree with her, but she does have a way of waking Black women up to reality, to real life reality of what we're dealing with when we're dealing with Black men.
But she does it from a one-sided perspective. Cynthia G does not call out Black female pathology, which she has, and it is damn near, it's radioactive at this point.
Well,
I seen
yeah.
Cynthia G. I seen, not to make her the topic. Cynthia G brought a white supremacist on her show on the phone and let this saltine, for lack of a better term, spew all types of bullshit. And Cynthia G is intelligent. Cynthia G didn't even start up. Cynthia G started out like me, targeting white supremacy. She let this saltine spew out all this BS and blocking us in the chat. She let him just run on. And I mean, everything he was saying was pure racism. And she knows that because Cynthia G is very intelligent. So I'll say that. Cynthia G, when she did that, and that was recently, I said, oh, okay. If this is about views and about money, now it's getting dangerous because you have sisters' ears and you're being myopic. You're not placing the ball on both sides. And
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you gonna bring a cracker in.
And for you, abracadabra, you said to generalize all Black men under that blanket, I think it's very shallow, and your perception is your reality. You didn't come in on the very beginning when we were basically explaining the difference. You know, he says Black male and Black men are two different things. You don't, just because you have a penis between your legs doesn't mean that you're a man.
Bingo.
Female and male basically means, that's your gender.
That's your gender.
But it doesn't necessarily make you a woman, and it doesn't necessarily make you a man. Bingo. Those are two different things.
And also,
so that's what we mean when we say Black male versus saying Black men. It's two different things. Now, 5, I will agree with you on that because there are some things that I say that I don't agree with when it comes to Cynthia G, when she lets certain people come on her show, especially men of no color, and say certain things. That's when I kind of cringe a little bit.
That's warfare.
But I really too understand as well that I feel like this whole crusade and this whole path for her and for a lot of Black women come from a place of hurt.
I agree.
Basically, hurt.
I agree.
I mean, we have a lot of Black fathers who don't even take care of their children. They see children as something horrible. Then you have men who decide, that they want to be with a woman with children, but then mistreat those children too. You should just go get you a woman with no children and just call it a day. So we have so many different things going on in our community. And this is why I wanted to talk about it. We're not going to necessarily talk about Black women, although I have gotten on them too. And we did that in my live. Remember the last time we were live? So, and that live was just basically all over the place, and we was up talking for hours. Yeah, but today that's why I think we're going to do this in segments. So we're going to talk about, the Black male perspective, but then we're going to go into the Black female too, because they can be, like you said, just as equally as toxic and aiding in the behavior of the Black male, and thus making our community even more horrible and even more worse than what it is.
The Black female produces the Black male that she complains about, not the Black woman. Because let me give you an example. And like I said, we're going to stay on the Black male pathology, but we have to make this delineation. And for the record, family, and Cynthia G knows me, for the record, family, I vehemently disagree with damn near everything Cynthia G says, only because she don't target the problem, which is these crackers. She brings crackers on, and that's warfare when they're speaking against us, and she does not put a spotlight on Black female pathology. So real quick, let me say this. My mother, okay, and my aunts, and I'm not just making this personal. My mother and my aunts, even though they're in their 60s, they would never be caught dead. They would never be caught dead advertising their bodies on social media. Never. Okay? That's a black woman. Okay? Now, a black female, she will advertise sex in front of the entire world. And then how many people are in the world? 9 billion. You see? So that's one difference. Okay? A black male will jump in front of a camera with his Second Amendment guns and some money he done made from doing quote unquote criminal activity, which all crackers do is criminal shit. And he will floss that like that's something to be proud of. That's a black male. A black man will never do that. A black man could have $1 million and you will not know. You see, that's the difference. A black male will spend majority of his income on looking like he has money, and a black man will spend the majority of his income back into his business to keep getting money. You see, that's the difference. A black woman will be very, very sexy and elegant, but she's not showing too much skin because she knows what comes with that. A black female, she gonna show it all, and she going to invite that attention. And then when she get it, she gonna complain and say, these N words is this, or everybody's thirsty, or why everybody want to F me. You see, perpetual children. That's why you can't call them men. Look, I was raised by my father. My father told me, my father's a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine, even though he retired in the 80s. But he told me that in a Marine, there's a term called a clusterfuck. Pardon my French. They say cluster, F-U-C-K. And that's when a situation is so disorganized that it cannot be rectified. You just got to scrap it and rebuild. And honestly, family,
I think that's what we're going to have to do, because I honestly don't feel at this point that it's going to get any better. It's like worse. Like, that crab in a barrel mentality. Everybody's pointing a finger at everybody. Everybody's speculating everybody. And it's so easy, to point the finger at someone else. And it's so easy to, try to figure out someone's life and all of these things instead of looking at your own true self and really analyzing yourself. And that's the path that I have been on. I literally have been doing a lot of shadow work and like basically trying to shed toxicity out of my life. I cut off my family. I cut off my best friend, who was my brother. I cut off a lot of people because I realized that they were basically literally sucking the energy out of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was constantly and consistently me giving, and nothing that I did, you know what I mean, was enough,
Absolutely. And I'm glad you hit on that point, because I had to do the same thing, Catalea. I had a traumatic experience, with a black female, and I was very hurt because I'm a human. And but I had to understand that at the end of the day, I'm a man. And I have to take responsibility for even in entertaining that type of relationship. Now, that black female.
Not that though, we also have to be able to hold our own selves, like you said, entertaining something. So we have to be able to hold our own selves accountable as well.
That's what I was about to build
say,
on.
You know what? This did happen to me, but like you said, I participated in it. I had my hand in it, and then the realization of what actually went wrong, or what you see that went wrong. And now let's come to the point of how do we fix it for
Bingo.
ourselves.
And that's what I want to build on, because ultimately, family, it was my fault. Not even I ain't gonna do no deflecting, because now we're gonna get into metaphysics of a relationship. And I've learned this by studying metaphysics. And then I'm gonna shout out a brother Zoe Williams. He wrote a book called The Holographic Relationship. All right, so and it's not a concept, this is a principle. The reason why it was my fault in the traumatic experience I had with the black female is because that's the nature of a relationship. The nature of a relationship is to show you your flaws. You can't see your flaws. You see, it's like a mirror. You can't see your flaws. You need a partner of opposite gender. And I want to make that clear, of opposite gender. You need positive, negative, negative, positive to see your flaws. Okay? Because me, as 5, I may have heard of my flaws, or I can even acknowledge them, but I can't see them because I still got my ego because I'm a human. You see, I need the opposite to show it to me. So my relationship with that black female, who was a woman, well, she's a black female, no disrespect to her, but I needed that to see my flaws. You see, she showed me my flaws because she was me just in a female body. And it's the same thing with her. That's why we were in a relationship. It's metaphysical. It's a holograph. You got to go outside yourself to know yourself. You see what I'm saying? And you have to, and the only way you're going to achieve that is through a relationship. A relationship. This is why if we're not disciplined and we don't know thyself, we run from relationships, or we will jet. A black male will leave if he think he's about to get hurt. A black female will do the same thing. But internally, you're running from yourself because your partner is showing you just you can't see. You see? And that's the science of relationships. And Elijah Muhammad really laid this out, family, in his book, which I got right here. It's a science to mating. It's a science, okay? And you have to know thyself. So back to me. I'm a black. I profess to have been a black man. I'm 37, but I profess to have been a black man since 26. Prior to 26, I was a black male. Okay, but after 26, I was a black man. Now, in my last experience with the black female, I was kind of morphing in and out. You know, like we're talking about. I was guilty of that. You know what I mean? I was morphing in and out. And I was sending her mixed messages, and she would tell me. You see? But if she didn't tell me, if I wasn't in a relationship, I wouldn't even have known. My ego would have clouded, and I'm thinking like I'm just doing me. The whole time she had to tell me. You see what I'm saying? And vice versa. Vice versa. I had to tell her certain things that she didn't even see. But that's the nature of a relationship. Okay, so and then
a relationship, what does a relationship do? It takes you from one place to the other, just like a ship.
Bingo. Great. I didn't even think about it like that. That's facts. That's facts. So so with that being said, I believe I made this title. I made this meme before. Matter of fact, when you did the last live that I was on, but a black and I learned this from my father and my mother because I grew up with my mother and my father, and you know I'm blessed for that. There's a black man and a black woman is a title that is earned. It's earned. It really is. You know what I mean? Because we can all walk out into the neighborhood. You know, even if you don't live in the quote unquote ghetto. You can walk out to the neighborhood and you can see a black male and he behaves a certain way. He don't really move like a black man. Like he may not, you know, he may be comfortable with not generating revenue. He may be comfortable with having sex with a bunch of women and not taking responsibility. You're like, why are you doing that? But that's a black male. You see what I'm saying? My father never did that. You know, my uncles, not majority of my uncles never did that, but there were some that did. You see what I'm saying? But that's the difference. But we have to make that delineation as black people, quote unquote, because our enemy is going to put a blanket on all of us. You see? And if Cynthia G or others are not making that delineation and they create these titles that keep saying black men and programming the subconscious mind of black women, then they're not going to know the difference. They'll see 5 and see a whippersnapper on the corner, and just because I may dress somewhat similar, oh, 5 just like him. He ain't got nothing on me, and that's not even my ego. He don't know an inkling of what I know. He don't move nowhere near how I move. But if we got sisters putting a cloak and not defining men and males, or you got brothers putting a cloak and not defining females and women, now everybody's in the goddamn box.
Right?
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know, I get it. But it's hard. It's not an easy thing to decipher. Well, for just for like a man, I feel like a lot of men may think that a woman is a certain type of way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get with her, they find out it's something different.
I've been there.
Right? And you say you've been there. And that's the same thing when women get with a certain type of male and he's portraying to be this certain thing or this certain person, and then you quickly find out that that's not the case. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think that we all can be duped. You know?
Tell me about it.
Because people put their, you know, their best foot forward, you know, when trying to enter into relationships. And then we also have the exact opposite too that happens. Like, you could definitely be like a good man, right? But because you've been through so much trauma with your mothers, probably your sister, your auntie, maybe past relationships, that you're not even able to recognize when you have a righteous woman in front of you. And I think a lot of that happens just with people and collectively in the masses, especially in our community, because we don't realize who's really for us or for the community, period, because we've seen so much toxicity and so many bad things. You get what I mean? And then it's so many unrighteous people that when they do have someone who is righteous, they want to tear them down.
They sabotage it.
They want to lie about them, tear them down, make up all of these narratives.
Sabotage.
You know? And that's why I know I'm a righteous person. So me as being a righteous woman, I really had to sit back and understand that the righteous path is not easy. It really isn't.
It's the hardest path to walk.
It's one of the hardest things that you can do.
And
because
lonely.
Even though you know in your heart, and the people who really rock with you, who are the closest to you, know, it's a whole lot of people out there who really just want to tear you down, suck out your energy because they see your light. They see what you bring to the table. And I think a lot of us who are really living that righteous life go through that. I remember when I was young and I was the only person, you know what I mean? I was the only person, like, young in high school, speaking knowledge, spitting knowledge, you know, rocking afros and, you know, not out there in the streets cussing and fussing. I got married at a young age. I really wanted a family and just to settle down. And it was hard for me because I had got pulled down so much, talked about so much, mistreated so much by not only my family, but people outside of my family. But I still stood fast and firm. So I just feel like this is not, you know, this is not the only hard thing that I had to accomplish, you know, get through. This is not the only hard time I had. I've had way worse times than this.
It takes pressure to create a diamond, goddess.
Right.
Go ahead, keep building. I apologize.
No, I'm done. I was giving you time. That's why I got quiet.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, look, you was touching my heart because you were just having me rehash, you know, especially when you're talking about, you know, we all could be duped, and you know, fooled or you know, just quote unquote deceived. Again, I'm going through a transformation, and I'm starting to realize that speaking to myself personally, every situation I went through regarding relationships, heartbreak, I'm starting to realize that as bad as it hurt, it was necessary.
That's how I feel. I feel
I'm
like
sorry.
everything is necessary.
Yeah, because you know, it definitely hurts, heartbreak, when you really love someone, when you really love the black woman, you really love the black man or the black male. It really hurts, and that's where the trauma comes from, and that's where the bitterness comes from on both sides. On both sides, and that's where the blame and then the blanket or all these be. And that's where I cringe when I hear brothers call our sisters B words, even if they're acting like ones, and the N words. And but Zoe Williams, I reference him again, good brother. I suggest everybody follow that brother. He said something. He said, quote, "Your partner is not your answer. Your partner is your question. Your partner is not your answer. Your partner is your question."
Facts.
You see? And when you realize it from that paradigm, you can kind of really see things before they happen. You can maneuver a little better. Okay, he's handsome. He seems like a black man. He's read Dr. Francis Cresswell sing. He's well versed in this, but let me really watch him. Let me watch his behavior. Is that a cloak? Is it a cloak? And if it's a cloak, the only way I'm gonna figure out if it's a cloak is with time. With time. So it's another thing. I heard a brother say this. He's an author. He said that women. He said women, and I'm not. It's not negative. But he said you ask. I think it was Zoe Williams. He said if you ask a group of women, if you poll them and say what speaks louder than words, and they'll say actions, and that holds true. I think all humans will say that. But he introduced something that was paradigm shattering. He said actions are not. He said what is more powerful than actions is intent.
Right. I have to give it to you. That's facts.
And I heard this from Brother Zoe Williams, and he studies metaphysics. It's intent, family, because it's thought, speech, action. But the intent is rooted in the thought. So this is why a lot of us are fooled in relationships, because we don't define or even try to figure out the intent. We look at the individual.
Right.
We're intrigued. Okay, he's handsome. She's gorgeous. I love her vibration. I love his energy. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
and then, okay, let me watch his behavior. Well, girl, I've been watching him. I've been watching his IG. I've been around him. He's been moving real thorough. So I'm going to give him that. And the same thing with the brothers. I'm watching her. Man, I swear she ain't no that. I've been watching her. Her behavior, she ain't no that. And then we get down, we do what grown folks do, and then some time go past and it goes left. And we're confused because we didn't try to identify the intent. The intent. And this is a science that Europeans not going to teach us this, family. It's up to us to teach each other.
I agree.
So we got, and I'm still trying to learn that. I'm still, every day we're learning.
Me too. Even in my age, like I'm there. Like I'm really trying to learn. Like this whole situation taught me to be very careful. I don't care whether it's blood or not, but to be very careful about the people who I allow in my space. And really watch people, like you said, is something that is earned, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a friendship, or a family member, even family. Your presence or whatever is something that should be earned. Really watch how people move. Meet with people out in public places. Don't bring a lot of people to your sacred place, to your home. Because you're allowing a lot of things, a lot of negative negative energies, anything like that to penetrate the place that you keep sacred when that's your home. Your home is a very sacred place. And not just that, your body. Your body is very sacred. So we have to be very careful with that too.
Tell me about it. Go ahead. I had a little joke, but go ahead. You're right. You're right though. Now, okay. So look. So I'll say this. It's back to black male pathology. Got an individual that I love and respect. I'm not gonna mention his name or nothing. This was a few years ago, and he had a situation that he was dealing with a black female or whatever. And she professed to have had a boyfriend, and he's sitting here telling me, he's like, yeah, because I seen the young lady a couple times, and she was vibing with us at cookouts and everything. So I'm like, okay, who is she, and what's your plans for her? This is my family member. So anyway, so he says that she got a boyfriend, and I'm like, pause. I stopped him. Now mind you, he's a black male. I was just at that time becoming a black man. So, so I'm going to tell him how you should proceed as a black man. So he's like, yeah, she got a boyfriend. And I said, pause, cuz, why are you dealing with a girl with a boyfriend? And he responds like a black male. He's like, well, shit, it happened to me before. You know what I'm saying? Like he was on the other.
A lot of them be like, I ain't got to do nothing. I don't got to do all the other things that a man would have to do. I can just hit it. I don't got to take her out. I don't got to do anything.
Bingo. That was his. You're right. That was his logic. He said it happened to me before, and he was like, I'm not her man. You know what I'm saying? He like, I just do this and the third. And I'm like, well, I said, okay. Well, I told him, I said, cuz that's extremely dangerous and that's not smart. And I use that term. I didn't call him dumb, but I said, that's not smart. That's not smart at all. He like, why you say that? I'm like, okay, because it's too many variables. That's why it's not smart. It's too many variables. It's too many things that can go wrong with you dealing with a female who has a man. You don't know if he's a simp. You don't know if he's in love with this woman. You don't know nothing about him. You don't know if he know you. You don't know if he go through her phone. You know if he follow. It's too many variables. So what you're doing is not smart. It's not smart. You know what I'm saying? And I responded how my father would have responded to me if I came to him with that stupid shit. Because it's really stupid, but I ain't want to call my cousin stupid. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be tactful. If I'd have called him stupid, it turned to an argument. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you ain't no better than me. You know what I'm saying? But it's not smart. And my cousin stopped dealing with her a little later. It wasn't immediate, you know what I'm saying? Because it had to sink in. He got to sink in, and he got to really see and maybe juxtapose what I said, what somebody else would say, and then maybe he might present that to her. But yeah, we got to do that, family. And I'm at the point, family, where because I've been accused of being very abrasive towards my people, our people, even my family and friends. So I'm trying to tone it down. But family, it's like this is a full-fledged war. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be tactful with my words, but I'm not really holding back. You know what I'm saying? And I think that black women got to do the same thing. We got to take the gloves off. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing about it is when we do that, though, like, because I have been the type that always sits in the background, that always doesn't speak my mind, that always let shit ride, let people take advantage of me, i.e. family members, people who I've dated. I let that shit fly for so long. But then when I begin to speak out, I would expect like black men to attack a woman speaking out. I would expect, black males would, attack a woman who speaks out. But then also you got, the black male worshiping women who jump on that bandwagon too, and you speak out. So then you're seen as masculine, a problem, all of these things that they label black women as, because now we don't want to tolerate the shit no more. We want to talk about it. We want to speak out about it. So what do you say to that?
I would say, okay, well, I don't know. I'm not going to say, I don't know if you're defined. I don't know if you're, I don't know if
I'm talking about people, period. Look at what Malika just said. They don't like the warrior women, but oh well,
Yeah, well, I love a warrior woman. You know, long as she's feminine. You know, as long as she's like my mother or my aunt. A warrior woman is feminine. You know what I'm saying? Like Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, Shahrazad Ali, Dr. Joy DeGruy, feminine warrior women. So, oh, but I would say,